What's up, YouTube? This is Giant Above 3 here. A little different kind of tutorial, mostly because I tried doing this in game and it was a little hard to explain without the visuals and like having all the setup and stuff. So hopefully this turns out well. But I've had people say, "How do you play against Roadhog? How do you play against May?" Um, and I could make an individual video for each of those, but I feel like a better video would be a positioning guide, because usually what ends up happening is the Roadhog or the May will catch you in a bad position and then you just insta die. So let's go ahead and just scenario, you're on Eichenwald first point, right? You got a Torbjorn who's like doing the silly turret right here, shooting this like little blank thing. If you know, you know. You have a Symmetra who put up 3 turrets over here to kind of hold off the choke point or something like that. Maybe it's like a Soldier 76, doesn't really matter. You have an Ana who's like in the back poking, and you have a Life Weaver, right? And these are just kind of random. I'll explain the Life Weaver when this one is more of a calculated, thing. But let's go ahead for the enemy team. Let's just go ahead and pick like, I don't know, Reinhardt, Ashe, Mercy, Soldier, Zenyatta. Okay, so the Reinhardt will most likely start off by trying to push main, right? And then you have the Soldier who might follow, Zenyatta who might follow, and let's go ahead and just make this different and say Ashe and Mercy are up here to try to poke out people. All right? So, where should you as Queen position? You have multiple options. You have just flat out like under this bridge, right? Which I think is the worst spot you could be. I mean, technically there's worse spots. You can be like on the wrong part of the map. But let's go ahead and just talk about legitimate, reasonable spots. If you're right under this bridge, Zenyatta could put an orb on you. You just take a shit ton of damage from everyone who can see you, right? I want you to count in your games, right? Like even like feel free to turn around and look at your teammates. How many enemies can see you, and how many teammates can see you? If the number of enemies that can see you is greater, you better be like in an amazing position. Like you just use Rampage, they're all purpled, they're all low, something of that sort, right? But if it's just in the neutral, this is the poke phase, right? You want to be about 15 meters away from your target, maybe closer or further, depending on like how close their effective range is, like if they're a Reaper or a Zarya or a Widowmaker or whatever. But you want to be about 15 meters away. And you want to just throw your Gracie at these squishies to hopefully put them out of position. Or if like maybe you had the Zenyatta, right? Pull the tank out of position and then everyone focus fire them, right? But if you are out in this open, you are vulnerable to everyone seeing you. So let's try using natural cover. Let's go ahead and start off with this natural cover. If you do it right here, you have access to backup over here as well. You can technically chase anyone in this room. You can see people as soon as they turn this corner. And so it's like a decent spot, right? If you pick this corner, right, you don't see them as soon as they turn this corner, but you do have quick access to this health pack. You also have access to this high ground. And then, same scenario here where it's like you can kind of shoot anyone who is coming around this corner, right? Now, let's say you want to play on this high ground, which is my favorite spot, but that's just a personal preference. You can now shoot people below you, right? And this Reinhardt can't even touch you without using Fire Strike, right? This Soldier can only see your upper half, not your lower half, so that you're partially covered. You have now easier access to shoot this Ashe, or maybe even like throw Gracie and pull her off of high ground. And you can drop down whenever. Like let's say this Reinhardt pushes past you, and this Zenyatta and Soldier are following. You can drop down and try to kill this Zenyatta. Or this Soldier, doesn't matter. And then the Reinhardt has to turn back this way to come back towards you, but then now your entire team can see him. And remember, how many of the enemy team can see you versus how many of your teammates can see you. This Reinhardt will probably die, or something unfortunate. But that's just scenarios, right? You could also still drop back from high ground over to here or over to here. And you can also just go down the stairs if you need to, right? Maybe like even touch his health pack if you need to. But what's most important about all of these spots is your supports, your Life Weaver and your Ana, can see you at all of these angles. If you are in this room, how are you going to get healed? If you are deep in them, right? Like let's say you're right here, right? How is your Life Weaver going to heal you? Maybe your Ana can heal you, right? Same thing for this side. How is your Ana going to heal you? They'd have to like push up, put themselves in an unsafe position. Remember, like at this point, the whole enemy team can see this Ana now. And your supports are super important for keeping up your team's health, right? So, this is a general neutral position of where you should be positioned, right? But let's say you're not versing a Reinhardt anymore. You are versing a Roadhog, right? Let's go back to those few positions. If you stand right here out in the open, everyone can see you, right? If you get hooked by the Roadhog and you get put into this corner over here, your Lifer can no longer see you, and you're just flat out dead. Maybe your Ana can possibly save you, but that's a real stretch, right? And also, if you are out in the open, the Life Weaver has to react to this hook pulling you really quickly. That's like a half a second reaction time. Probably not gonna happen. That's very that's some game sense level shit of like the Life Weaver predicted or was just holding like a game like press that grip button like, real quick, right? So let's go ahead and try using the other corners and stuff, right? Let's say I am playing on this side and the Roadhog like comes around this corner, sees me, and then hooks me. Well, Life Weaver has more gap to see, hey, you're about to get hooked. Let me go ahead and, save you, right? But as soon as you hit here, your Life Weaver has to come over here, and by that time, you're probably dead, right? Zenyatta already orbed you. You're on a trap. You're slowed down. You can't do shit. Best thing you can do is turn around and rampage, which is like you wasted your ult for that, right? Now let's try playing on this side, right? Roadhog can no longer just flat out hook you. He'd have to come to... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to pull the map. At least here. I'm going to go ahead and... Oh, not that. I'm going to lock that so that it doesn't move. Oh, it still moves. Never mind. I don't know how to lock it. It's fine. Roadhog, now, if he pulls you, right, it will be in a place that the Life Weaver can still see you, right? Even if he's like over here and pulls you towards this corner, Life Weaver has to just move to like here and can see you, right? There's a chance you can get saved. And this really depends on which supports you have on your team, right? Like, let's go ahead and switch out this Mercy for this Life Weaver, right? Like, let's say that's happening, right? If you get hooked here, your Mercy really can't help you, right? So what you want is at least your Ana to have visibility of you. And so maybe you'll play this side instead so that when you get pulled here, Canister comes out, Sleep Dart comes out, something, in order to stall you time to get out of there, right? So this side and this side just really depends. On top of here, however, is my favorite for multiple reasons. You are half covered up, right? Your feet are not line of sight. And therefore, if the Roadhog tries to hook you, right? If you are covered, it might even just fail. It's harder to get hooked up here, whereas your upper half, your line of sight, can see his entire body. So I like up here, right? And you can also play around this corner too, so that you can straight up see the Ashe. I'm going to go ahead and actually switch this because this is bugging me that Life Weaver is pocketing the Ashe. You can play around like this double, right? Like this high ground, right? But also this corner so that the Roadhog cannot hook you. He'd have to pass this point, in which case his backline is open, and also you can also come out here and just start shooting him, throw a Gracie at him, pull him up towards you to soft CC him like a Hammond doing a pile driver, right? And it just gives you so many options. Now let's go ahead and replace this Roadhog back for a Reinhardt, right? Or something like that. And now let's pull out Mei instead of like the soldier. Like they went back to spawn. They're like, this isn't working. Maybe we can do something about this, right? If you play right here, let me actually draw. Mei can like wall like here and cut off half of your team. And now you're kind of in trouble. you now have to, let's actually switch these around. You'd have to move around here or like run to cover or whatever. This is just a bad spot to be in, right? Same for if you are over here, the Mei could try to wall you off like this way, or even wall off this side of your team, right? And like it's kind of like hard to escape. If you're on this side, if the Mei tries to wall you off like this way, at least you have this area to move around and your teammates here can see you. If the Mei tries to wall you off this way, you can still have the option of going to high ground, but like keep in mind that these two guys will probably be vulnerable to a Reinhardt now charging your backline or your support, your team here, right? So this goes back to, have you considered high ground, where the Mei can wall you off this way, right? But then you still have access to, when Reinhardt charges past here, to drop down or to shoot him this way, and as soon as the Mei and Zenyatta come here, you can drop down to attack them. Other options include, if the Mei tries to wall off like this position or this position, your teammates might still be able to see you over that wall, right? Like maybe they like walled over here. They can still see you from over here, right? Or maybe the Ana's smart and starts to play like on top of this car or even this high ground over here, and this Lifer can pedal platform himself and look over the wall. So I can't stress enough how important high ground can be for avoiding these bad scenarios. Now, here's worst case scenario. Is they have a Roadhog and a Mei, right? If you are here, right, and you get hooked to like here, right, and the Mei walls you off here, you are dead. There's no way you live that. You'd have to be goated of all time, right? That's a reference. Hopefully no one's like, oh, guys, didn't you realize goated also already means of all time? Whatever. So, this is a bad scenario, right? This could also be bad. This can also be bad. So, like, remember, if he's here and it hooks you over to here, and Mei walls you off over here, you're still dead. There's no line of sight. This would have to be a coordinated attack. And so in solo queue, like, it's kind of rare for this to happen, but it is possible, right? The best case scenario, right, is, or not best case scenario, the best position, I believe, is this high ground right here, where it's going to be harder for this hog to even get the hook, and this Mei has a hard time even walling you off, right? What would have to happen is this hog plays around here-ish. If your teammates make a bad play and this guy gets hooked, right, your Torbjorn, and then a wall happens here, this Torbjorn's probably dead, but at least you can drop down and try to help out, right? Now, I don't recommend that, because then if you both die, it's a 5v2 or 5v3 or whatever, right? And your team just loses. But that is a scenario in which you can play out. So, hopefully that's a good general idea. I'm going to go over a few more examples of potential high ground that you can use. So, let's go to second point, right? If you guys are here, let's say you're a Junker Queen, and let's have like a Roadhog like here-ish, right? You could play this corner right here. You can even play on this like little pillar thing. Like, this is like not the top floor, but like the middle floor. You can play inside here. Come out here if you need to. Play around this corner. Your teammates can probably see you like over here-ish, or maybe they are playing inside here as well. You can also play on like the top high ground. Now this one's a little weirder for this part, but as soon as they go over to here or whatever, right, and your team's over here, you can play this high ground up here, right? You can easily rotate from here to here, and then from here, like if the Roadhog's here and the enemy like Zenyatta's like here-ish, whatever, you can drop down whenever you want to and attack them, or just shoot from up here. Fun fact, this drop down here is like 15 meters, and this one's like 10 meters. So you get your full damage off your scatter gun from just being here. If you wanted to go like a little further, right? Like let's say the Roadhog is trying to get cheesy hooks. Like let's say you have a Zenyatta and an on your team, and this Hog's trying to get hooks. If you play here, you can try to knife him and toss him off the map. Now you might be like, why don't I just do it over here? Well, there's a chance you hook him and sorry, my bad. He lands on like this platform, whatever here, and goes into there, whatever, right? But like, maybe unlikely, depends. But also like, be careful for yourself because you can also get hooked off. So, a way I play against like a Roadhog is I will knife him and just leave it in there, right? If he tries to hook me off the map, I pull, he falls himself as well. And like worst case scenario, if you like do land the knife and he pulls you off and he lands here, he still has to take a bit of time to get back into the position. Your team can react in time, hopefully, and be in a safe place. So hopefully this video helped people out. Let me know if there's any other topics you want me to go over. I don't believe there's a lot of matchups I want to talk about because the next week or so I will be just going into Stadium and just kind of like diving into there. So thanks for guys for watching. Knife to see ya. I don't know.